Hi, this video is about SEO or search engine optimization for beginners in 2019, how to rank your website #1 in Google. First of all, why should you believe me? I have ranked hundreds of websites for hundreds of thousands of different search phrases. I've made well over $1 million from SEO, and so I've ranked a lot of websites, I've seen a lot of things, and I've studied from the best, and I'm going to try to break it down for you in this short video in terms of what is important. There's a lot of things that people talk about that don't really matter. And that brings me to my first bullet point here on major SEO factors, which is that there is an infinite amount of minutia. So minutia are basically little things that don't really matter. There is a ton of stuff that technically matters, but that really doesn't move you forward. So for example, I could take a bucket of water and I could throw it in the ocean and say I've added water to the ocean. That is accurate, but not really very useful, right? It's technically true, but not really. There's a lot of stuff like that with SEO that technically helps you, but isn't really going to move you forward. And so there's three categories that we have for major SEO factors. On-page SEO, that has to do with what's going on your site, on your domain name. You have complete control over that. This is much simpler, much easier to do and understand. Off-page SEO, or in other words, link building. This is sort of like Google's way to determine how popular you are online. And this is actually the most complicated part of SEO. It's also what made them better than the other search engines 20 years ago in the late 90s. This is the reason why their search results were better. They were looking at links, and they were looking at the internet like a popularity contest, and the other search engines were just looking really at on-page SEO. And then another thing, another factor area is going to be engagement SEO, what I'd like to call engagement SEO. And this is Google does look at how your visitors respond to your website. Now, this isn't really where you start. It's not really, doesn't really require a lot of work if you have the right mindset. I'm going to give you some tips on this, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it in just a minute. But first I want to move into some SEO myths and half-truths, okay? First of all, there's a lot of people out there blogging about SEO and talking about SEO who've never actually ranked a website. They're hired writers on SEO websites who've read a bunch of articles and think they get it, think they get what's important. And there's a lot of theory that gets spread around as fact. Or even worse, a lot of half-truths. And Google is part of the problem there. They spread half-truths. And they do this intentionally, and I understand. I have no hard feelings against them. They it makes what I do more valuable. It makes SEO more valuable. The fact that I'm more fact-based and more testing and reality-based. And I encourage you to really take everything with a grain of salt and don't spend a ton of time reading too much articles without actually practicing and seeing what really works. Okay, and it's highly conditional. It depends on a lot of different factors: what market you're targeting, and how you're branding yourself, and all the other conditions around your website. The first and biggest myth out there is that content marketing is SEO. This is a big myth. Content marketing is not SEO. Content marketing is content marketing. It can help with SEO, but you do not need content marketing to rank a website. Think about like telling a plumber, a local plumber, you need to build a bunch of content, you need to blog a bunch to rank your website. No, that's not accurate at all. While that might help you, it's not really going to be the best path for most people. You can rank a lot of stuff by blogging and being good about blogging and blogging intelligently, but just going on and blogging randomly about what you had for breakfast, or about your random thoughts on a topic, is not likely to get you there or get you there very efficiently. Technically, creating a bunch of good quality content can get you to rank well. I think it's very inefficient if that's like your only focus. Obviously, I believe in content to a certain degree, or else I wouldn't be shooting this video, but I'm doing it within a greater plan. And I'm doing it with very specific objectives and research that I've done in mind. An analogy for this would be like, can I walk from Los Angeles to New York City? Yes, that is technically true. I can walk from Los Angeles to New York City. Is it a good idea? Is it the best way to go about it? No. So that's probably the biggest myth. Another myth that has to do with what I talked about with on-page SEO, and I'm going to go into a little bit more into this in a minute, is that they have these lists of like all these on-page SEO factors. It's like 100 or 77 or 120. And the problem with this is that, as I'm going to talk about in a minute, there's 5 on-page SEO factors that account for 99+% of what you really need to do 99+% of the time. Okay, and so they have all this list of minutia, things that are technically true, like getting an SSL certificate is technically true. It's technically an SEO factor, but it's not really going to make you go from page 2 to page 1 for a significant search phrase. Okay, that's just not going to. You're probably going to see no change in your rankings from that. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Here's another thing. Domain name doesn't matter anymore. This is a big one, and it gets me into my next bullet, which is the top 5 on-page SEO factors. The #1 single thing that you can do to rank your website better for a specific search phrase is to have words that are part of that phrase in your domain name. And so the closer you can have to that phrase in your domain name, the more power your domain name is going to have over enabling you to rank for that specific search phrase. Domain name matters, and it matters a lot. It is the single biggest on-page SEO factor. It's the single biggest thing that you can do to rank your website better. Now, I'm not saying you get a domain name that's like what's called an exact match domain, which is an exact phrase that people search. I always like having branding in the domain name, and that's more from a long-term perspective, and also there's certain issues that come about when you have an exact match domain. But to say that exact match domains don't work, or to say that, well, you don't really need to worry about putting like a word in your domain name is just not true. It's just flat out false, and it makes you have to spend more resources and money on the other things, and you just won't rank as well without it. The other factor, the next 2 factors in terms of importance from an on-page standpoint are going to be the titles of your pages and the URLs of your pages. So the full URL in the path bar in the bar in the search engine, and then in the browser, which you would highlight if you were to send a link to someone. That's the URL. That matters. What's in there matters. The text in there matters. And then the title of the page. When you run your mouse over like a tab, what shows up there? It's the meta title. That matter. Those 2 things matter a whole lot. Beyond domain name, they matter more than everything else. And to a much lesser degree, in conditional ways, you have how your pages are interlinked. This matters if you have a lot of pages on your site. If you're a plumber who has like 7 pages, this doesn't really matter that much. And then also like there's header tag, there's like header text, which is sort of like bigger text on a page. That can matter to a lesser degree. Everything else is pretty much minutia from a purely technical SEO standpoint, from Google crawling your website and determining what you're about. If you ignore the off-page and the engagement SEO, these are the major factors. Okay, so engagement SEO tips for beginners. And if you have any questions or you think that you disagree with something, I'm fine with that. Or you have some case study, please leave a comment below, and I'm happy to answer it. I will answer every comment that I get within a couple days as best I can. So 3 engagement SEO tips. So #1, and by far and away, is video. You can see me shooting a video right now. Video is the most engaging form of content. Anytime someone can click and be entertained or informed or both, then they're going to spend more time on engaging your content. And so Google tracks this. Let's take an example where you're #2 for a search phrase and your competitor is #1. Now, a lot of visitors come, they search, they click on the first guy, and then they come back after 5 seconds and they go to your website and they spend 10 or 20 or minutes or don't go back to the search results. Google sees that and Google tracks that. If that happens a lot, then you will outrank that person. So it's kind of a trump factor. It's not really going to get you there in the first place. You can't just do engagement SEO and ignore the other factors and rank really well. But it is something that will matter. And I have some case studies that will blow your mind on how this can become like a trump factor, and how it can be when you give really strong engagement for a specific search phrase or a set of search phrases. It can really make it so that you stick where you're at, and you can fight off a lot of the other factors. It can kind of trump them in a way. So that goes back to video as well. Google owns YouTube, and so the amount of time that people spend on your site, they will spend more time on your site if you have video versus not video. That's just a fact. And if you can get people to spend 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes, that's going to make a huge difference for your engagement SEO. Another tip would be really think about what your market is thinking about with a specific search phrase. So you're using a page to target a specific search phrase. what is your market really thinking about? Really try to engage with them and answer their questions and pull them down the content to answer what they want. And that's going to make a big difference for you. I'd also say my final tip on engagement would be just give lots of free value. Obviously, there's in different markets and different niches, this is more difficult. But don't be afraid to give away. I'm going to give away a really big secret in this video pretty soon. Probably should have told you earlier. But that is something that is going to be helpful to you, and give a lot of it away. And there's a lot of support for this. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Link building tips for beginners. This is, I will say, I'm going to put several stars by this because link building is advanced. It's more advanced than the other two by a substantial amount. That doesn't mean there aren't simple opportunities. It depends on exactly what your situation is to how you can take advantage of those as a beginner. But I would just say that expect your path on understanding link building and be able to do this to a high degree to be a long one, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If this was easy, then it would be, it wouldn't make sense. Okay, there's a lot of misinformation out there about this, so don't hire someone off of Fiverr or something to build 10,000 links to you for $20. Don't hire those outreach people. If you have a website, you're constantly getting contacted by people who say, I can get you an article on Huffington Post. I can get you an article on Forbes. That doesn't work. A lot of those sites, more than half, I've done the research, are low-quality sites that you don't want to link from that could actually hurt you. Don't spam your site. And don't think that you can understand this easily. Understanding how to do link building takes time and takes experience and takes testing and actually seeing things happen. You can't just read a bunch of articles or watch a video and really get good at it. So buy SEO courses. Some of them aren't going to be bad. Are going to be bad. I've bought more SEO courses. I've probably spent over $100,000 on SEO courses. I don't regret it, even though some of them are not going to be good. Some of them are going to be really good. And some of them have enabled me to find really, really good people at SEO to really learn and to ask questions. Build test sites and be scientific about testing things. If you have an idea or if someone says something can work, test it out on a site that doesn't really matter, or where you can, maybe it matters, but you're not really worried if it doesn't work. And then also use tools like Ahrefs, that's ahrefs.com, majestic.com, and semrush.com. These are really good tools for doing research on your competitors, and that's especially Ahrefs, and that's really good at looking at the kinds of links that your competitors are getting, because you can take those links and a lot of times you can get links. You can get their links. Some, maybe they have 1,000 links, maybe 50 of them you can actually try to get, and you try to get 50 of them and you end up getting 20. That's going to be helpful. You do that across a bunch of different competitors that are all ranking on the first page. That's going to make a pretty big difference. So that's one way to do it. These are both link building tools. This does have link building in it, but it's more about market research. What is your market? What are your competitors ranking for? What kind of keywords, search phrases? And so it can give you some ideas of what you're going to rank for. Okay, I'm going to give you my biggest link building secret right now. Okay, so when you build a link and you try to understand, is this a good quality link? Is this relevant? Relevance matters a lot, but not in the way people think. Does it matter? Think about the top 5 on-page SEO factors. The domain name, the titles, the URLs. Let's just do those 3. Look at so you're trying to get a link from a page, and you're trying to decide, how valuable is this? Is there a keyword that you want to rank for, a part of a keyword in the domain name, the title and or the URL? If it's in all 3 of those, well then that, and it checks out in other ways, then that is a really high quality link. From all other things being equal, that is really huge. Okay, this is how Google is still a robot. It's not so much, it's an algorithm that reads text. Okay, while it does do more advanced things, it can see pictures, it can see text and pictures, it can kind of categorize emotions to a certain degree. It's still, the core part of the algorithm is it reads text. And so you think about the links, the quality of the links. And so when you're going through, let's say, Ahrefs, and you're looking at your competitors, and they have 1,000 links, and you're thinking, well, which ones are going to be the best for me? Think about the on-page SEO factors and take that into account. Okay, that's huge. Most people don't know that. Timing. So how long does this work? Well, one of the ways that Google fights spam is that like if you go to a website, let's say you used to be able to load up information in a tool and get it started, and then a week later you'd have 10,000 links built. Okay, but what would happen is those links would be taken down by the administrators of those sites, a vast majority of them, or a large percentage of them within, like, let's say 3 months. And so one of the ways Google fights this is they want to see links stay up for an extended period of time. And so let's say you needed these exact 100 links to rank #1 for your main keyword. If you built all those 100 links in the first month, I don't think you're going to get penalized for that, but you're just going to have to wait to see, you're going to have to wait 6 to 12 months for the power of that to really be given to you, okay? And the same is true when you lose links, that it does take time to kind of lose that power. Okay, because sometimes the link goes down for a little bit and Google doesn't want to penalize you for that. And so keep in mind that you have to be patient with SEO, especially with more competitive search phrases. So in conclusion, beginners can do a lot with SEO, but I think that having a kind of a beginner mindset and a learning mindset is going to really help you a lot, especially with link building. SEO is very profitable. It's the most profitable form of digital marketing when you get it to work. At the same time, it does take time to work. And there is some risk. You can spend a lot of time spinning your wheels and getting nothing out of it. So let me know if you have any major questions. If this video was helpful to you at all, please like this. Please check the description for any more resources. And please subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.